Hello, moviegoers, and Happy New Year. This is our first episode of Have You Seen It with your host, Denise, for the 2025 season. Wow. The movie that I'm going to review in just a second is quite interesting. But I'm going to start, of course, with my segment called My Favorite Actor. And for our first episode, my favorite actor is Cicely Tyson, the late, great Cicely Tyson, my favorite actress of all time. If you want to see exactly why I chose Cicely Tyson for my favorite actor this week, two movies, Sounder and the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. You watch those two movies and you can really see her range and versatility. So she is my favorite actor for this first episode of 2025. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my review. And my review is the movie Babygirl, starring Nicole Kidman, Antonio Banderas, Harris Dickinson, and Sophie Wilde. Okay, so in this movie, Nicole Kidman is our baby girl, and she plays the role of a CEO of a company who is streamlining their commerce with robotics. Okay, so she is married to a playwright, a very successful playwright, and he is played by Antonio Banderas. He plays her husband. And so they live, of course, this magnificent life. And you see that they have a fabulous penthouse in Manhattan, and they've got a mansion in the countryside, and she's just living the life. So what happens is she gets herself into a very steamy relationship with an intern at her company. Okay, so what we have here is a woman who is, not sexually satisfied at home for whatever reason. The movie starts out, you can hear that she and her husband are getting it on, and it sounds like they're having a good time. And when it's over, at least for him, it's not quite over for her. So she decides that she's going to go in another room of their home and she's going to finish the job for herself. So she pleasures herself. So that's what we're working with when we're talking about Babygirl. So in this movie, her initial interaction with this intern is his first day. She's, coming into work, and she sees him in a situation where there is a loose dog on the street of, New York somewhere, and it appears as though this dog may be coming her way to maybe attack her, and he does something that distracts the dog and prevents what could have been a scary situation for her from happening. So right away, she's kind of intrigued by this young, and I mean young enough to be her son, gentleman who was able to, calm this dog down like instantly almost. And so fast forward, on this particular morning is where a group of young interns are now introduced to the supervisors and managers that they'll be working with and for at this company. And of course, he is the gentleman that she begins this torrid affair with. This gentleman, and he's played by Harris Dickinson, he is arrogant and self-centered and kind of full of himself. But there's something about him that kind of turns her on. She tries to, act like, you're just a child. I'm a grown ass woman. What can you do for me? Well, she finds out pretty quickly. And not only does she find out what he can do for her, it's how he goes about getting her to do things for him. And as I'm sitting there watching this movie and watching him manipulate her and, play on her vulnerabilities, it is a psychological manipulation on his part, because she's doing things that gave me pause. You got this young gentleman telling you to do X or asking you to do X, and you're doing it. And these are things that are kind of weird and kind of kinky. And so what we have now is an erotic movie of just sexual fantasies. She is living out these fantasies that I guess she has and has never told her husband about them, obviously, or she's just kept them to herself, to the point where I'm about to explode and I need somebody to bring this out of me in a way that I've never experienced before. And this gentleman, helps her explore those desires that she has, but it does come at a cost, as do many affairs do when you have this workplace inappropriate behavior in the workplace, in the office, in front of other people, in the presence of others. And so it does come to a head, and she's got to deal with this within her marriage and with this young gentleman. So Babygirl really showed Nicole Kidman's range. I mean, we've seen her do, she has no problem, taking her clothes off in movies. For a 50-something-year-old woman, she's looking pretty hot, so that's no problem there. But this movie really stretched her. And if you listen to some, interviews that she's had on various talk shows or whatever, or you read articles about how she felt about doing the movie, she was like having orgasms out the wazoo. And in filming this movie, they were quite they took a toll on her. I'll put it that way. So if you are in for some naughty girl behavior at the theaters, you want to see some of that, go check out Miss Nicole Kidman in Babygirl. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my Nailed It. And since we're talking about bad girls and women doing inappropriate things that their husbands are unaware of, my Nailed It for this week is Diane Lane from the movie Unfaithful with Richard Gere. And she was hot for some young dude that she met on a whim, and she just couldn't get enough of him, and she was extremely naughty in that movie, but I liked it. I like seeing her be naughty like that. All right, so Diane Lane is my Nailed It for this week. All right, folks, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like button. And remember, we are on BlueSky at HYSI. Check us out there, because that's where we'll be posting this review. So feel free to comment on Babygirl. All right, folks, until next week, moviegoers, you know what to do. I need you to see a movie, because I'm going to see a movie. Until next week, bye-bye.